Are prices on Bring a Trailer P-Car Market and Cars and Bids falling off a cliff? We're going to look at the predictions we made on listings from the last episode to find out, plus all new predictions, plus the Romi studio is full of guests. It's off the rails. We haven't even started. This is Bid Nerds. The bidding starts now. Nerd! Bid Nerds is your daily YouTube car game show, where we predict the online auction results of the most interesting cars on Bring a Trailer, Cars and Bids, Hagerty Marketplace, and more. It's just like the Price is Right game show. Play along and see if you can beat the nerds. All right, we are here. It is a live episode, brand new for the Bid Nerds here in the Romi studio. My name is John Polnik, coming to you from the downtown container park in beautiful downtown Las Vegas, along with my partner Michael Deeb in San Francisco. We got a full studio here, but we'll get to that in a second. Michael Deeb, how are you tonight?
Oh my God, JP, I am so excited to get this show over with and then go to bed and get up in the morning, meet Sahan and Yuri, and drive to LA.
Can anybody hear Deeb? His microphone is so low. So while Deeb messes with that, we'll go to our guest tonight. Look at who's in the studio live from Smiths all the way down from Idaho. Anthony Vierra. What's up, Anthony? How you doing, buddy?
What's up, guys? Great. Long drive, ready to rock.
You are getting into it. You got the sunglasses on. That's rocking it. Also, of course, we have Romi. It's his studio. Whoa. Romi from the Romi Show. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you doing? My mic seems a little low too, but you know what? It's par for the course tonight.
Yeah.
Look at that. It's getting better. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Anthony. Thank you for coming down. Thank you for driving down. Yeah. I'm super excited for Air and Water, and I cannot wait to get started. Let's do it, JP.
We don't have a camera on Budda, but he is also in here. Everybody say hello to Budda. How you doing tonight?
How's everybody doing? And trust me, you do not want to see me, so this is this is sort of perfect.
And who else is in the studio tonight?
My pops.
Your pops is here. Help my pops. All right.
George.
You can see George on the Instagram. We're live feeding on the Instagram. You won't be able to hear everything, but you'll be able to see the whole studio. All right. So we've got a pretty great show, I think, shaping up here for tonight. Lots of folks in the Nerd Herd hanging out. We love you guys. Of course, Kevin's already here. We got George. Gerd's here already. Gerd, shout out to Gerd, because Gerd is going to be he's going to be rocking the Cars Un Cafe show here in Las Vegas while most of us are gone for the weekend. Michael Deeb, what's going on this weekend? Can we hear you now?
Testing? Can you hear me? Testing?
No, you're
Better?
so low. We can barely hear you. Can barely hear you. Let's see.
Testing.
Just what everybody wants to hear is the show going testing.
Yeah.
That's as loud as your thing goes there, buddy?
No. I just didn't testing.
Crank it all the way. Just go all the way one way.
That's all the way up.
That's as loud as it can go. Okay, well, that's as loud as we're going to get Deeb tonight, I guess.
All right.
Which is kind of low. But hey, shout out to Godden Porsche of Las Vegas, Godden Classic, if you're looking for a classic Porsche. Anywhere in the world. You don't have to be in Las Vegas, because they can just ship you cars. They can find you cars. They can find you parts. They can get anything you want. If you need to rebuild or restore your classic Porsche, they are the folks to talk to, Godden Classic of Las Vegas. And, of course, Our Smiths, if you're going, hey, you guys were late tonight. How come? It's because I'm not wearing a fine Swiss watch. I'm wearing some plastic cheapy thing tonight. So my watch isn't working. I should have been wearing a fine Swiss watch, right, Anthony?
Yeah, you know where to get it too.
I do. You guys rocking the Rolex is pretty heavy over there on the big desk tonight. Look at that. Romi's flexing the big Rolex too. It's because in Anthony's honor. All right,
exactly right.
Okay. I guess we have a show to get to. What are we doing on this show tonight? Our price has fallen off a cliff, guys. We had some pretty crazy results from the last episode. We made some predictions on cars, and we're going to get to those really quick here. Let's start with the first car on the list. What do we got, Michael Deeb?
JP, I selected for us a 1996 Vector M12, which is 4,400 miles. Our car is in Osprey, Florida, and it is the fourth of 14 produced examples of this car over like a 3 or 4 year period. Vector famously went out of business or got basically aggressively overtaken by Megatech out of like Indonesia or something. But this particular car, JP, has some interesting provenance. This is the exact car that Jeremy Clarkson drove in period on a Top Gear episode that they tested way back in 1996. So this car may be more desirable to some people because of its Top Gear provenance. The car looks to be in spectacular condition. And of course, we love it because it is the epitome of 80s and 90s Radwood era supercar gluttony. This car sports a Lamborghini V12 platform, but just rear wheel drive. So really, really interesting car, excellent condition, super low miles. And rare as they come, with provenance to boot. So JP, although there had been no evidence to support that any Vector was worth more than $220,000, our car was at like $230 or $240 when we were reviewing it just the other day. So I started the bidding at $300,000. JP, you curiously took the over at $305,000. And our guest in studio was Carly, what's her last name? Carzuro, whatever. The chick from Godden. And she guessed $292,000. Let's see if the guys in studio would care to venture a guess. Romi, let's start with you. What do you think a Vector would bring?
Dude, Vector's awesome. I mean, come on.
Yeah, give me a number.
Rising Sun. Let's say they wrecked it in that movie. It was amazing. I would say I'm with you. I'd say like 360.
360, big money. Anthony, where you at? What was your bid from the other night?
Yeah, I'm not a Vector guy at all, and I said 270.
270 is not bad. Budda, any love for the Vector? It's the same colorway as your car, right?
Yeah, it looks like a spaceship. We'll have maybe Randy will confirm. I think I put 275 on it.
275. JP, Randy is not up to speed with the bids, so we're just going to jump right in here.
Oh, yep. Anthony's got some numbers for us, right?
I have the bids from Randy.
Okay, what do you say? Look at
that. Nice.
It's the Spud Syndicate, man.
Yeah,
we're looking out for each other.
Love this.
Cheers to Andy right there.
Oh, my God.
So, Randy at $300K. George at 169, Gerd at 276, Kevin at 305, Kristen at 330, Budda 265, Sergeant Tom at 285, Michael S 250, and Brian 255.
Very, very good guesses. Our car sold for $295,000 on a whopping 54 bids. Carly, the newbie, was only $3,000 off of a Yahtzee with her bid of $292. Wow. And then me and Randy at 300 would have come in second place. But like every good spaceship movie, there's no points for second place. So Carly, the newbie, she won that one. JP, I like that we were all in the right ballpark on this car. That seemed to be the correct number for this. You had a very interesting take that, like, mileage doesn't really matter. Nobody's ever going to really take this car out for a drive because it's not a car that you would expect to reliably get you back home. This is something that you would be investing in as a work of art, and that you would occasionally trailer it to a show where it would get unbelievable attention and eyeball. I do like that take. My question to you, JP, is do you like $295,000 for your take? Does that number make sense with what you're describing as an investment grade piece of art, not a real automobile that you're going to ever really use?
Well, I think the question is based on the way we opened the show. Does this represent prices falling off a cliff? I think a year ago or a year and a half ago, this car is definitely in the mid 300s, yes. Maybe even higher.
More.
Right. So, I think it's definitely correction period. We're not. I don't think we're going to see prices go, back to 2019 ever, just because of the I word, the inflation word, right? But this car selling at the price that it sold really is basically the same value when it comes to real dollars as this car was in 2019. For the same amount of money, you could buy the same thing. Whatever this car got in 2019, this number is representative of that number in an inflationary terms. Anthony, what do you think of the results of this car?
Well, it makes sense. For me personally, it's just an art piece. It's not a car you're driving. 270, or I'm sorry, what did it go for? 293. It's a lot of money for it. A couple of years ago, someone way overpays, and I don't know. I think it's on track. It's where it's going to be. It's always going to be in that 300 range.
Romi, you own a lot of cars that are kind of in this price range. Is this a car that you would consider at this price range? Like, are there, you probably have...
Well, you heard my bid.
Well, yeah, but that's a bid based on what you think it's worth. The question is, you own cars in that price range ballpark, right? You probably have 3 or 4 cars that are probably worth around that. Would you trade any of them for this car? Is this a car that would ever be on your list? What do you think of this car and the result?
That's a good question. I wouldn't trade any of my cars because they're all unique and interesting. But I think that I would buy this car and park it in my living room.
Yeah.
Because it would be cool. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, you're building a new house, right? I mean, this would look pretty dope as an art piece in the middle of a really big house with the...
That's the idea of the house. You can drive cars into it and leave them in the living room. So that's the idea.
This would be the one to leave in the middle of the living room for sure, because you don't want to try to get anywhere because you're going to need an Uber pass to get back. All right.
Just cocktails all over it. Cocktails all over it.
Budda, you got anything to add to what you think of this car?
I thought it was...
Excuse me.
I bid 30,000 under where it sold, so I was more with JP that these things were going to continue to sort of fall. I'd love to see Romi driving this down the Las Vegas Boulevard, right past the Bellagio fountains.
I wouldn't make it far. A couple of gears would blow up.
Well, but this thing definitely fits into that category of sense of occasion, right?
Yes.
I mean, this is the kind of car. Romi has things like 993 roofs and SVJs, stuff that when you drive down the strip, every tourist stops and they're like trying to TikTok or make a video or whatever. This is absolutely that kind of car. This car is going to just stop traffic even on Las Vegas Boulevard when there's no shortage of things to look at. Deeb, anything else you want to add before we move on?
No, no, nothing.
He's just like nope. This is a commentary show, and I don't have a comment. What do you guys think of the results of this amazing Vector car? Was it well bought? Does it represent a falling off of prices in enthusiast cars, or is this just kind of an adjustment, not a readjustment, but a correction in the market? Is this what we should be seeing? Does this represent a bargain? Is now the time to get stuff like this? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And Michael D, what was the next car that was on the list?
JP, Chef selected for us a 1980 Porsche 930 Turbo. Now, in 1980, the Porsche Turbo was not sold in the U.S., so this is a ZZZ VIN. Actually, it predates the ZZZ VIN. But this is a European, a rest of the world car that was rebuilt several years ago to be an RSR build. So they left the standard turbo flares and did not change to RSR flares. They also, as JP, you sort of pointed out, they left the turbo rockers, which would have been a really good thing to do prior to paint to really finish off the RSR style. Deep 15-inch Fuchs, sporty seats, ducktail spoiler, nice paint job. But this car's got some wear and tear on it. But the big story is the turbo that is in the back. Very interesting. We've seen so many RSR builds on 80s era SCs with normally aspirated motors. The big deal, obviously, is to do a 3.6, but rarely do we see one done with a turbo. So an interesting selection by Chef all the way around. JP, I started the bidding at $150,930. You took the over at $151,000, and Carly took a very sharp under at $141,000. Romi, what do you think?
Ooh, it's difficult. Did you say it has turbos? I didn't hear you.
This is a 930. That's what this backdate was built on. Is a 930.
It's a 930 turbo. Yeah, 930 turbo RSR.
Interesting,
huh? 4-speed.
4-speed. Yeah. I would say I'm tough. It's an interesting car. What was the year again? 80. I was totally paying attention, by the way.
Right.
I listen to you all the time, Deeb. Don't worry.
JP,
I'm like your wife. I didn't hear anything you said.
Romi, my eyes are up here. Stop staring.
I was checking out the big hips on this car. I like it. It's got, it's got a nice butt.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
Yeah, and I mean, this isn't an SC that's got hips welded onto it. This is an actual 930 turbo that was backdated. We always see the backdates. They usually start out as a narrow car, and they graft these wider hips.
It's like RWB. Yeah, I got it. The RWBs are always underpowered, but this time they did it right. 190.
190. All right. I'm going to go to Anthony here in a second, but I want to respond to that because it's not like an RW. That's not what I'm saying at all. Right? An RWB adds the fender flares and they bolt them on. I'm saying that we see the RSR builds. They add the wide flares to make them like a 930, like where they're actually grafted into the body.
I love when I throw the gauntlet down.
The guy who made
and you pick it up.
Yeah.
The guy who made that was not smoking cigarettes.
Yeah,
definitely.
These are the original fenders. They didn't add anything to this car when it comes to fenders. Anthony, what do you think this thing should have brought or did bring?
Well, I didn't like this car at all. It to me, a 930 doesn't need to be backdated. It doesn't make sense. A 930 is the original turbo, so we don't need to backdate it. But I thought someone was just going to overreach on the car, so my bid was $162,000.
162. Budda, what do you think?
I didn't like it either, but for different reasons. I like the attempt. As JP said, everyone backdates SC, so I sort of like where his inspiration came from, but I think he just missed. The stripes do not work. Yeah, and I don't, maybe Anthony has what I bid. I don't remember, but I just don't remember. I remember not liking it.
Well,
Anthony, give us what you got.
Anthony, because you've got the bids from
145.
Wow.
Yeah,
and what was everyone else at, Anthony, since you got the list there?
So Randy was at 159, 930. Chris Carbine was at 158.
930.
Gerd was at 165. Kevin at 175. Christian at 115. Sergeant Tom 171, 900. George at 149. Michael S. at 172. And Brian at 153.
All right. So what was the actual result on this thing, Deeb?
Yeah. Romi, what was your bid again?
190.
Yeah, you didn't win. All right. So
I always pay too much.
I'm in San Francisco. Can you guys in studio smell that? Can you smell that?
No, we're not.
Smells like a Yahtzee.
Ooh.
162,000. Anthony, you got this one right on the friggin' nose.
Man,
so
what
Anthony, let's start with you. Why did you? Because basically, JP and I were basically in that 150 range. You were 10 grand over us, and you got it right on the nose. Even though you didn't like it, why did you think it would bring more?
I thought someone was going to just overreach for it because it's a 930.
And on BAT versus P-Cart?
Yeah. It being a 930, I guess you could always... I don't know, man. They ruined a 930 in my opinion. So I don't know why they did it, but you get the backdate and then you get the 930, turbo motor, and so I just figured they're gonna overreach. They're gonna buy this car, and then they're gonna wish they had a 3.6 backdate because it's just a better driving car.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, this car, I said it in the last episode, they should have taken the damn rocker panels off. This car, everything looks backdated, then you hit those rocker panels, you're like, wait, what are those doing there? They just totally don't belong, and it really would have, I think, it's like the rug that ties the room together, right? Bring this car down, because it's on 4x4 status, you've got more space in there. I mean, that's a lot of room in between those fenders that you could just live in there. That car needs to be brought down close to the ground, remove the rocker panels, and then it's a completely different looking car. And I'm with Budda, remove the stripes and everything. And I think this car, if you have a little bit of vision, I think it can get there because it does have some really cool ish. But I'm surprised that this car brought what it did. I think that's more money than it should have brought. What do you guys think out there in the nerd herd?
JP, do you think that a 4-speed turbo car is the right car for the style of build, though?
I mean, No, I don't. I definitely, if you're going to backdate something, I think you backdate something that's lighter. But I mean, if you like the that's the thing. I don't like turbos in general. Like, I'm not a 930 fan. I love them. Don't get me wrong, but I prefer a 5-speed, regular, naturally aspirated car over the turbo driving experience because of that 4-speed.
You're a turbophobe?
You're
totally a turbophobe.
I didn't say I hate them.
So I guess we can all agree this was the wrong idea.
Yeah,
yes.
right. If you want, but hold on. If you like that feel, if you do actually like the 930 feel of driving, then why not backdate it? And if you want that experience, but you want a different look, I'm okay with it. It's not what I would do, but I'm okay with it. I don't condemn the car for doing that. It's not what I would do, but I definitely think it's clearly didn't bring the big money.
Do you guys, like, when you look at it, do you feel like you just want to change it back?
Yes.
That's what I look at. I'm like, get rid of those seats, get rid of the stripe, put the whale tail back on. What are you doing? Get rid of all. Yes, that's what I feel like. I'm like, it's killing me as I'm watching. I'm looking at it. I'm like, God damn. That's just it's sacrilege.
I want to shame the guy that built it.
Yeah, totally.
Why? Why did you do this?
I don't.
You just did.
I think we just did. Yeah. Good job. I think you just totally did. That was well said, Deeb. Yeah. I mean, I love the whale tail. I mean, I grew up just watching those things drive around. I'm like, the best car in the world.
Yeah,
like,
you go tray on the back.
Yeah.
Hey,
cook some hot dogs on it.
Anthony, I think you also shamed the idiot that bought it too.
I'm okay with that.
Nice.
Yeah. You have to own your decisions.
Twofer,
He made a mistake. It's going to be a terrible car to drive.
All right. Hopefully, what else? Let us know what you guys think of the results of this 930 backdate monstrosity or gold. Let us know in the comments below. And what was the last car that we made a prediction on the last episode, Michael Deeb?
JP, you selected for us a 1980 Porsche 911 SC Targa. That, I think we decided this car had largely been a one-owner car, but somebody way back in period grafted on 930 front and rear fenders and quarters.
Oh my God.
And then also added 18-inch, what were these, JP? Kinesis wheels or something, like crazy stuff. Yeah. Now, what's interesting, John,
wannabe E88s.
The paint is very take it or leave it. I don't, there's not a lot of takers for a duty colored brown, even though this is an actual duty brown color. But it's a polarizing color, but it's very period correct. The fenders aren't so bad, but matched with those wheels, it really set us spiraling. And then when you finish it off with that super cheap looking steering wheel and shift knob, car doesn't look like it doesn't look expensive. Let's just say that. So we wondered what this car would bring on P-Car Market, being that it is, as you say, JP, this is one of those cars that represents the values in the cuts, not the standard bread and butter of the air-cooled 911s, but something that's just off-center. So good car to look at, one that you yourself said you were interested in. I figured you'd be interested in this car up to around 40 grand, but I thought even on P-Car Market, this car would live to see $45,000, where I thought it might sell. JP, you agreed with me and then took the over at 46, and Carly, our newbie in studio, took the over again at $49,000. So, Romi, what do you think about this 130,000-mile Targa in Washington with the flares and the wheels and the cheap steering wheel?
Oh, God.
It doesn't look to be in excellent condition, but I don't know what you'd expect at 130,000 miles on a non-restored example. I think this car could make a fine driving example if you changed a few things up. So when you see what's here to work with, Romi, on P-Car Market, what do you think? What do you think the hammer fell at?
It looks like a car like when you're a little kid and your aunt comes over and she's like, I got a Matchbox car for you. I know you like cars. And you're just like, what is this thing? Where did she buy it? Yeah. It looks ridiculous. The whole thing looks ridiculous. It's a ridiculous car. I say 37,000. That's
not
all
bad. Okay.
I wouldn't pay any more than that.
Let's go to Anthony. What do you got, Anthony?
Well, I also dislike this one, which is a rare occurrence. 2 911s in a row I dislike that doesn't happen. And then when I saw the color on a P-Car video, it's just a bad color. So my bid was 46.5. It's nickels and dimes at this point.
Yeah. But Buddha, give us your 2 cents.
just by my, I guess, obstinate nature, I want to like a brown car.
Yeah.
But I don't like this one. I like the white hips on a Targa. I think that's great. I don't mind the brown interior. I kind of like that. The wheels, Anthony wanted to shame the person who'd done that backdate before. The person who put the wheels on this car needs to be run out of his village.
Yeah.
They are
run over with that car.
Yeah, it is just almost unforgivable.
It's probably the same type of guy that puts ketchup on a hot dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think I put 35 grand fail to sell. Anthony can check me on that, but it was I did not even think of the bidding.
It's more like ketchup on spaghetti.
Get near 40.
Yeah, ketchup on pizza. I hear you, Buddha. Anthony, will you read off the bids that you might have at your disposal, please?
So we have Randy at 49,000, Chris Carbine at 53,000, George at 54,000, Kevin at 50,000, Christian at 41,000, Buddha, you were right at 48,000, Scott D 47,000, Sergeant Tom 49.5, Yuri at 36.5, and Brian at 42K.
So it's so funny. We have the peanut gallery working tonight, JP. Because
totally.
Buddha goes, my bid was 37,000, and then Anthony goes, you were right, Buddha. You bid 48,000. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
is there anybody paying attention? It's absolutely hilarious.
I don't want to let cigarette out of the bag. I'm usually smoking weed when this. I don't really remember.
We're drinking wine.
I always thought that it was like really easy to run the studio the way JP sets it up for me to do the show with him, and then we bring guests in, and you guys are all over the place. Like you guys make us look like we got it tight around here, which is not the case. Initially. I thought Randy and Carly were going to win with their bids of $49,000, but Kevin, Anthony, correct me if I'm wrong. You said Kevin bid 50,000.
Kevin bid 50.
Our car sold for $49,950 on 37 bids. Look, that's right on the money. JP, let's start with you. You're at 46. Car sells for 50. I mean, that's a win. You got it right. What is it because you think people can see what's there? Like chances are most people that look at a wide body Targa in brown aren't thinking 18-inch, forged wheels as the finishing piece. So do you think that people are looking at this going, hey man, there's a lot under the shit. If we just remove the shit off this car, you could be a nice car into the prototype.
Here's the thing. Everyone, for guys like me, I love it when people can't see past the tips of their shoes. The wheels on the steering wheel. They're just freaking the F out. Everybody calm down. Wheels come off. That's the great thing. This represents such an amazing opportunity because those wheels are actually really nice wheels. They're just not period correct. Those wheels would actually look really good on Romi's 993 roof. They're wide body Kinesis. These are quality freaking wheels. Those are probably $5,000. That's a $5,000 set of wheels right there in 3-piece forged
JP.
wheels. They are the right wheel for the wrong car. If this car had just regular Fuchs, or if it had Group 4 gold wheels on it, this thing would be dope as hell. Change the steering wheel. It's 6-bolt. It's already got the Momo up. We've all, probably every one of us, have 3 or 4 prototypos on a shelf somewhere that we've. Look, there's a steel right behind Deeb's head. We all have steering wheels that would instantly transform the interior of this car. And for everyone to go, oh, it's only worth $30-something thousand because of wheels that easily come off and can be replaced for $1,500 or $2,000 is just absolutely freaking R word. I mean, it's just dumb, and I love the fact that. I gotta say, it's not that word. That there's a different R word. Maybe they're on the same part. I don't know. Are you a Romi? What does that mean when you call some a Romi tard? I don't know.
A Rom tard.
I like it.
I feel like I'm getting.
JP. Go ahead, Buddha.
I feel like I'm getting yelled at by JP.
I know.
I am a little bit.
My bid was closer. My bid was closer than JP.
I know. And it's not that the bid was wrong. Your bid was absolutely right, but I think this car represents a value. I think this car, if it had the right set of wheels, which would be so stupidly easy to change, and the steering wheel and some photos.
Like you do every week with all of your cars?
Every car you get, you got to change, right? Exactly.
Wheels, tires. Didn't you were hiding wheels in my garage?
It's a sickness, man. It's a problem to have that kind of. I mean, take up
Absolutely.
heroin; it's way cheaper, guys.
I liked your idea of the gold wheels and the vintage stripes. That fucking would set that car off.
Right. If it had like the Aviator Nation style Sunsetter graphics on the side of this thing, it would be great. And I actually do think that it would look good if you pulled the rocker panels off again and exposed those oil lines down the side.
Sure.
This would be a lot of fun. I think this would be a great looking car. It would be $100,000+ looking car for call it under 60 grand, right? It has that wide body Targa thing that you don't see a lot. Usually, I mean, a wide body Targa, if it were a real 491, is at least 150 grand, right?
Yeah.
So it would have the look of it. If you didn't know it wasn't, a real 491, if it's done well, that's what I'm saying. It would have the look of a $150,000 car. It wouldn't be worth 150 grand. Let's calm down here a little bit, but I do think
You're
there's
the
an
one who's
opportunity.
excited.
I am. I was trying to
Yeah.
fix all the technical issues, and I'm just listening to the gibberish you guys are just spewing. All the misinformation. The government's going to shut this YouTube channel down.
Oh my God. The
FBI's gonna kick down our
stenographer
door.
when JP
The black
starts talking.
helicopters are outside.
Yeah,
Cheers.
Jesus. Oh my God.
Go ahead.
All
dude.
right.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No. I missed my opportunity. There we go. All right. Commercials.
Yeah, I guess it's time for commercials. Deeb had something to say, and then now he doesn't. Hey guys, I gotta tell you about our friends Godden Porsche of Las Vegas and Godden Classic. If you're looking for a new Porsche or a classic, you gotta call our friend Steve at Godden, this guy. Save yourself the hassle of screwing around with all the auctions like we always talk about, and just talk to Steve. He'll find you the classic Porsche you're looking for. Godden Porsche of Las Vegas. If you don't subscribe to Bid Nerds on YouTube right now, I'm gonna shoot this 997. If you said, wait, that's a 996, you're a nerd. So subscribe to the new YouTube channel, Bid Nerds. Hey guys, you're probably looking at your watch and wondering if Bid Nerds will ever end. So you better talk to our friends at Our Smiths to make sure your Rolex, Tag Heuer, AP, or any fine timepiece is in tip-top shape. Our Smiths, fine Swiss repair. All right, the stupidity continues even during the break. We're still having a debate about whether or not brown is a good color for a 911. Let us know in the comments below. I didn't ask you guys to let us know in the comments below. The Nerd Herd is rocking it tonight. They are here in force. Have you guys hit the thumbs up yet? Please do so, and let's move on to some new predictions, because I think we got some pretty cool cars here to determine whether or not, the big question tonight is, are prices falling off a cliff? I think the cars that we talked about on the last episode are kind of showing some let's call it not falling off the cliff, maybe just kind of
Teetering?
resetting, teetering on the cliff. Could they get tipped over if something happens? Let us know what you guys think in the comments below, and let's get to some new predictions. What do we got?
So, JP, I'm embarrassed to ask, who's Andy?
Huh? Andy Stahl. He's the guy with the R8, the white R8, and his wife has chickens. She is the chicken lady in Las Vegas.
Chicken box?
Negative, sir. She has chickens. This is the place to get fresh eggs. They have a huge chicken coop, and they supply people all over the city with fresh eggs for free, man. It's awesome. They just have a chicken coop, and the chickens run around. It's badass, and because you're not here, you're missing out. We got some great eggs. Actually, Andy has an amazing FJ Cruiser that he got. It's got, I think, something like 17,000 miles. It's a 2014. It's a manual, guys, and it's going to be going up on Bring a Trailer. We shot some photos of it.
Let's do that one.
And it's going to be so dope. Yeah, we're definitely going to be talking about that car. When
I got a whole chicken from him.
Did you get a whole chicken?
Yeah, a whole chicken.
Yeah.
Put it
You know
in
what the
the
There he
difference
is, Andy
between
Stahl, right there. He's like, hey, man, I got 100 chickens. What's wrong with you?
Wait.
Put it in the crock pot.
Wait, Buddha, what'd you do with it?
I put it in the crock pot.
Perfect. I
Shit
knew
out
it.
of
No more eggs from that one. Andy says prices are flaccid. All right, there's a word.
Flaccid. Well, they sell a pill for that, Andy. You know what the difference between
flatulent?
Do you know what the difference between kinky and sexy is?
Oh boy.
Here we go.
Sexy's with a feather, kinky's with the whole chicken.
Okay.
Oh, the dad jokes continue.
Jesus. All right, Andy, thank you.
Grown.
One of my favorite cars. It is a 1985 Audi Ur Quattro on P Car Market. Our car is located in Lebanon, New Jersey, showing just 71,000 original miles. And what makes this car even more interesting, because so many of these models were imported as gray market, this car is actually one of the 73 U.S. production cars. So this is a legit car, a car that you could even register in California. The car is looks stunning in Alpine white. This was, I think, the first production car really to get the, basically Audi's homologated platform of a coupe with box fendered flares, the Quattro all-wheel drive system, and a 5-cylinder inline turbo. Our car makes about 160 horsepower, which is quite a bit up from the 115 that graced the 4000 Quattro sedans and the Audi Coupe GTs that looked like this but lacked the boxed fender flares. This car really was sort of the U.S. version of the homologation special. JP, one of my very first cars was a 4000 S Quattro with cloth seats, heated seats, and the Quattro and the whole shebang. And I liked the car, but it didn't turn and it didn't go fast. This was the car, like, you drive the Audi, but like this was the car's, hotter sister. And it's like, oh man, I wish I could get one of these, but these were always 4 times, 5 times as much money. This car looks particularly stunning. It's interesting that these cars, like other sort of Group B homologation specials, hasn't really gone crazy in value. Although despite being on P-car market, I think this car is going to do really, really well. 15 by 8-inch Renault wheels. When you think about the 15-inch wheels that you might have found on a production car in period, most would have been 7-inch wide. The 8-inch wide tells you that this car was sort of up for the performance. It also has leather interior and a host of sort of tech that was, in 85 was a little bit ahead of its time. Audi really did do some groundbreaking with this car, even if it wasn't a commercial success. The Quattro sort of technology really helped Audi survive the rough times that were ahead in its future. So JP, I love this car. I know you would never want to own one of these, but I would. I would be dumb enough to buy this car and enjoy it and cry myself to sleep when something broke and it cost a fortune to fix and you couldn't find parts for it. But they only ever made 664 in the United States, and in 85 it's one of 73. So it's a really rare car by the numbers. I dig it. I think it's really cool. And I bet you could, figure out a way to get a little more boost out of that thing and make it something that would be even more fun to drive. So JP, I lob it back over to you. I know you don't rate vintage Audis as cars to own. Fun to look at, maybe fun to drive, but not to own. Even though I know I would lose my shorts going into it, I would probably plunk down the money for this car if I had room for it in the garage. What do you think?
Why are you putting words in my mouth? I love this car. I don't like old 90s Audis, but this particular Audi is the Audi of Audis.
Right on. I agree.
I love this thing. I love the R9 wheels. I was a big Scirocco kid back in the day, and I remember looking for. We were talking about wheels on the 911 before the break. I think I had probably 10 Scirocco's over the years, and at least 3 or 4 of them had Audi R9 wheels on them. The Renault wheels, just to make it look kind of like this car. It really kind of classed up the Scirocco. Is it the same designer, right? What's the guy's name?
I'm not sure, Gregario, and I don't know if he did this car. Yeah, I'm not sure if he did this. He did all the Volkswagen stuff, but I don't know if he did the Audi one.
I mean, it really does look a lot like a Scirocco. And I remember it, back then thinking, oh yeah, that's what it must be. Like all the other, all the American manufacturers that make one car, but they make a Camaro, a Firebird, a TA, all that stuff. I just thought that this was the Audi version of the Scirocco until I learned a little bit more and saw that the engine was in line. Remember they did make a 2-wheel drive version of this as well. It wasn't, all-wheel drive. And that one, I actually had one of those. And frankly, the powertrain is basically all kind of, S1 Volkswagen-y kind of stuff. S1, S2, A1, A2 Volkswagen
but it's not
stuff.
Transverse. You notice it's not transverse.
I know, that's why I said it's an inline inline engine as opposed to the horizontal, and that's when I realized, oh wait, I don't know what I'm talking about when I thought it was the same as a Scirocco. So yeah, love these cars. They drive great. They are, really cool. Audi has always had kind of cool interior stuff. They've always been kind of ahead of their time, even if some of it broke and was junky. The design was always kind of cool.
And smelled weird.
Yeah, Romi, what do you think think of these?
Oh, I love this car. It's amazing. It's awesome. It's unique and rare. I mean, it won the British Touring Car Rally. It raced against Lancia and beat it a couple of times. Like really kicked its butt. It's an amazing car, and that's why they made these cars. It was because of the rally. So they had to make a certain amount to enter in. And that's why
they had to change the rules.
That's why it was wider.
Homologation. Yep.
Homologation.
The hell at everybody.
This is like the RS of Audi back in the day.
Yeah. Anthony, what do you think?
Yeah.
I love these cars. Box flares, square bodies. It's my guilty pleasure.
Totally.
I own a 944 turbo because I'm not brave enough to own one of these. And the funny thing about owning a 944 turbo is you expect it to break down because it's from this era of turbos and box flares and not thought through. But this is a great car, and in this colorway, I mean, this is kind of a grail Audi. If you're going to have one, this is it. So
I mean so Kevin brought it up. It's a 5-cylinder. It's not the 4-cylinder, but it is. Right. It's essentially a Volkswagen engine with an extra cylinder. So the parts were fairly easy to come. I don't actually think of these as terribly unreliable. They don't have a turbo. The electronics.
They do. It is turbo.
This is a this one is a turbo. The regular one isn't a turbo. My bad. Right. You're right. But
correct.
Okay.
The GT.
Yeah. The turbos of this era are going to be kind of scary. But what's his name? Andy's like going, hey, I would trade my Corrado SLC for this thing. Would you guys do that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All
my God.
That's not a question.
Yeah. So what do we think this thing's going to bring?
All right, JP. So on paper, this should be about a $70,000 car. On PCAR market, I think we're going to be really cutting it close to get quite to that value. But here's the thing, JP. These cars are particularly rare by the numbers. A lot of them in period were bought by people that could afford to go out and drive them and beat them up. And there are not many left at all, and fewer still in this original low mileage condition. So many of these cars that we see come across the auction block with well over 150,000 miles and a lot of unusual parts, exhaust and brakes and wheels and suspension and all sorts of things. To see one this stock with under 100,000 miles in Alpine white, a BMW color, I think this is really cool. I actually think that although this car may sell here in the next 2 days, that the consignor made a mistake by not bringing this car to bring a trailer, where I think this car could have brought $85,000 or more because it's just so unusual. But John, our car closes in 2 days. It's at $14,000 on 8 bids. I don't think any of that matters. I think this car is going to show well. I just don't know what the consignor has in mind. So I'm going to give you $69,000, which is a crazy number, but the book value on this would support that. And I do think PCAR market just has enough of an audience to maybe get that number. But it could hit my number at $69,000 and still wind up in the deal tank or the chum bucket for, considerably more than that, another 30 or 40% premium, depending on how outlandish a number the consignor has in mind. But anyway, I think $69,000 is what it's going to take because they're just we've been doing the show for 4 years. We've not seen one this nice. I think this is going to set a high watermark, but I think he's going to leave it short of what it could have been on BAT. So where are you at, JP, at $69,000?
Well, I was messing with the curtain and some technical stuff while you guys were talking early on. I don't know if you mentioned, are you taking into account that this is a salvage title? That this car was a salvage back in the year 2000?
No, I did not see that.
Yeah, that noise, right? Look, it was a long time ago. It was in the year 2000, and I've said it before with titles. Boy, what caused this? This is just so god dang PCAR market. It's like, gosh dang it, PCAR market. Look, we admit that we don't do a ton of research. When we pick a car, we throw it on the spreadsheet and we go make a show. We don't really dig through. Wow, while Deeb is kind of like going through, kind of listing all the stuff, I get the added benefit of being able to dig a little deeper because he's actually trying to talk about the car. The Nerd Herd even mentioned it. They're like, hey guys, this is a salvage car. That changes everything. And it really is sad. And this is the kind of thing that, look, Deeb, you should have been able to see that this was a salvage car by just looking at this ad in 30 seconds, right? But P-Car Market buried it. They buried it. This should be in the first freaking paragraph. It should be on the top. This is a salvage title car. I don't think that salvage title cars are the kiss of death, but when you hide it, it makes you look like you're hiding things. They are not transparent, and this is why P-Car Market has such an ishy, gosh dang bad reputation, because this is the kind of crap they pull time and time and time again. P-Car Market, I've said it 1,000 times, they are used car salesman jerks, and I really wish they would just go out of business and go away.
My God.
I really, really think this is underhanded and low. Guy, I mean, come on. How many people... What would happen if you went and bought a car and found out after the fact? This is the last that you had to dig through 200 photos to find out that this thing was a salvage. It was the last thing you're looking at. By the time you get to this last photo, you're like, how many more pictures of the brake pads can I see? You're not even going to look at this last page. And they don't even list the Carfax on their site. There's no link directly to the Carfax. They just put photos of the Carfax, unlike Bring a Trailer and Cars and Bids. Bring a Trailer and Cars and Bids puts the Carfax. There's a link. You can look at it, and then you know it's the most current information. We don't even know how old this Carfax is, or if it's doctored. It's a PDF of somebody else's. I mean,
it's a photocopy,
right? Is it even real? I mean, I wouldn't trust these guys as far as I could throw a paper airplane made of a Carfax that they printed on a copy machine at 7-Eleven.
It sounds like it's run by boomers.
Yeah, right. A bunch of boomers from your favorite place, Romi, the Long Island.
Long Island, how you doing? Don't worry about the title.
All right. So all that said, I still think the car is valuable. And that's the other thing about the salvage thing. The salvage isn't that big, or could, in the year 2000, this car wasn't worth much. So if it got into a small accident, if it had a fender bender that was maybe a $5,000 repair, that would total the car, because the car was probably worth $10,000, right? But now it would take $50,000 to total this thing.
What does the Carfax
JP, it gets even worse, right? So I'm reading the comments, and the way P-Car Market describes it is that it had a salvage title, or actually Carfax says it had a salvage title in Connecticut, but then they transferred the title to Vermont, and in Vermont they gave it a clean title. And so the guy who's selling it is like, hey, I don't know why it's got a salvage title. It was clean when my friend bought it 30 years ago. And I'm like, well, the salvage title happened in 2000. And so the next comment is, hey man, stop calling it a clean title when it's clearly not. P-Car Market should change the listing, which they of course never did. So this is JP
justification. JP.
We all kind of cringe when you go hard on P-Car Market, and then we read 5 minutes and everything is backed up by your comment, which is this is completely underhanded. And it's just, these are the messes they create by not being transparent and explaining what's going on to their audience up front. And so JP, you are vindicated and liberated once again. And man, it absolutely changes your bid. Where I thought this car could set a new high water mark, it should for the condition and the miles, but based on its title history and the fact that the platform nor the person who's selling the car can explain why this happened, I think this car is going to struggle to make 50. So I'm going to change my bid from 69 to 49, which is probably still high, but somebody may just look at the condition and swoop in and take it and go, there's so few of these out here. I don't care if I overreach for this one, because there might not be a comp as nice as this one, despite its unfortunate title history. We don't know what's going on, but even if they bent the frame, you can straighten the frame. It's just a machine.
Nice.
It can be fixed. Right, Anthony?
No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the fact is we don't know what happened, and that's the problem. Right. By the way, Anthony, I'm going to give you a chance to give your bid, but I'll give you a little later. Look, I think it's it's a beautiful car. I still think it's a great, neat car, has potential, but is anybody going to spend more than $30,000 for it? My number's $29,999, and I'll pass it off to you, Anthony.
Okay, I've always wanted to say this. I like P-Car for what it is. It's kind of like that sleazy, back alley. I kind of feel dirty when I'm hunting cars on there, because I don't want my friends to know I might buy a car from P-Car, because I know what I'm buying from there. And I think most people who are on P-Car kind of understand this is a place to get your bargain. You want to overpay for something, go to Bring a Trailer. That's fine. Unfortunately, once you've totaled and gotten a salvage title on a car like this, the handling characteristics, all the things that you dream about when you buy a car like this, you can't guarantee that's what you're getting. I mean, and you can't compare it to your friend's car because you're not going to see another one. I think it does a little better than JP thinks, but I think it stops at 34, and I think that's where it's at.
Romi, where you at?
I would never buy a car with a salvage title. I'm not Savage. Ladish. So,
well, how much is this one going to go for?
I was going to bid around where you were, so I was going to say 32. Yeah.
32?
32. And Anthony, give me your bid again, please. Sorry.
34,000.
Hey,
Thank
Budo,
you.
you got a number?
Yeah, and I didn't actually get to comment on this earlier. And I want to say, I didn't think it was that nice. Deep. JP, can you go to the picture of the interior of the glove box? Like,
and
half the glove box is falling down.
Horrible radio.
I think it was photographed well. The paint was well. This is a car that anyone who's like us, who's got nice Porsches, has nice other things. A Ur Quattro is what they flip and want, but not this one. I think actually that mileage is pretty high for this. And again, you'll see that glove box. So I don't think, I'll say 27 grand.
Wow.
Hey,
All right.
Buddha, that glove box is probably from someone's knee going through it during the accident.
There it was. JP just
Yeah,
had it.
I know it looks all right. I actually think the interior of this thing looks okay. I mean, it's got no cracks on the dash. I don't know, whatever. We just don't know what the accident was. We just and the question mark is what makes this thing such a big problem.
The mystery.
And we know that P-Car Market is going to lift no fingers to provide clarity in that regard. So that's the problem. What do you guys think this salvage title super rare rally car will bring? Let us know in the comments below. Here's what so we always talk about how great the Nerd Herd is. I really want to leverage you guys. We love you guys. I know that all of you have hit the thumbs up while you're hanging out in the chat. We know that you have already subscribed to the channel, so we do appreciate that. Here's the next thing I'd like you to do. I'd like you guys to go to P-Car Market and say in the comments that Bid Nerds covered this car, and if you're considering purchasing it, you should watch the Bid Nerds episode. Comment will probably get pulled down.
Yeah, probably.
But do us the solid, and honestly, do that with all the cars that we talk about whenever we do an episode. Go into the comment sections of the car listings and let them know that the Bid Nerds covered these cars, because I think if you are considering purchasing something like one of these cars, whether it's this car or any car that we talk about, my takes are always terrible, but my guests and even Michael Deeb every now and then comes up with something I think is pretty useful, and I think it would provide a value to people who are genuinely considering purchasing one of these cars. Okay, I'm full of crap. Deeb doesn't know anything. We all know that. So I can't believe I said that out loud. Deeb, what's the next car on the list? What do we got?
All right, JP, I selected your next car, a 1995 Porsche 993 Carrera Cabriolet 6-speed. JP, I think you should just try one of these. I bet you'll like it. Our car is on P-Car Market, and the title status is clean. According to P-Car Market.
Sure?
Our car is showing 66,000 miles and is located in Franklin, Tennessee. JP, I am on the next flight out to Vegas with you to fly to Tennessee and drive this thing home. Triple black JP. It's a basket handle, right? Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Easter basket handle.
Yeah.
It's got the Cup 2s, right? Those are the 17-inch Cup 2s. The car just looked to be a clean, no-nonsense, black on black on black 993 cab. It's a 95 JP. I'll defer to you to explain to the audience why the single sensor is better than the later cars with Vierra RAM and 2 sensors. These cars are essentially easier to live with. I'm noticing, John, an aftermarket head unit, but otherwise not much. It might not be a high spec car with like limited slip and motor sound package, but a lot of the 95s were not, if I'm to be based on my take on the market. I feel like the cool option cars came later when people realized that the 993 was going to bow out and be the last of the air-cooled. But when the 95 dropped, I think people just wanted them because they weren't 964s. This one looks really nice. JP, it's in your colorway. very fair miles, and I would think still reasonably priced. So if PCAR Market doesn't mess this one up, this should be a really nice purchase for somebody at the right price at the beginning of fun season for driving. So JP, I picked this one thinking of you, partner. I sent it over to you, a 95 black on black. All those years that you owned your car, I think you had your car for 11 years in Polar Silver, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever, from time to time, go, damn it, I wish that car was all black?
Yeah, I wanted an all black one when I was shopping for it. But that's the thing, when you're shopping for air-cooled 911s, you rarely get to shop for color. It's what is available. And you kind of, oftentimes it comes down to options and conditions before color. There are certain colors that I would cut out. But anyways, yeah, black on black is definitely what I wanted when I went and got mine. The 95 is the year you want. That's an OBD1 car, so you don't have the SAI, the secondary area issues, so you can actually smog these relatively easy. That SAI repair on the Vierra Ram is around 10 grand, and it's not if, it's when on those. But yeah, this car is great. It looks to be in really nice condition. My biggest worry on this car, I always make fun of the cabrio phobes, the people that don't like convertible. And yes, I prefer coupes, but I love cabs, and it seems like people that prefer coupes usually hate cabrios, and it's not the other way around. So I think the great thing about convertibles is that they represent a value that you can't get in the coupes. This car is going to go for half the price of a coupe. And that is awesome. You can get basically all the 993 for basically half the money. If you don't want to spend $130,000, you can get this one for somewhere around $60,000. The big question is looking at the background photos. This car is obviously at a dealership. Or in a collection where there's a bunch of other cars. They know what this is, and are their expectations ridiculous? We opened up this show by asking, are prices falling off a cliff? Someone that owns things like, a cup version of a 968 and all the other really cool stuff that's in the background here. Do they expect this car to be worth $80,000, or do they realize that it's a 993 Cabrio and they don't bring as much money as coupes? I'll send it off to Romi. What do you think of this car?
I like the car. I think we should get in my car now and go get it. You need it. You need another one.
Excellent plan. I'm pro that idea.
I
all right.
you would be.
Anthony, what do you think of this car?
I'm a cabriophobe.
He's a cabriophobe. It's 2024, man.
I'm fine with it. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Bigot. It's okay. It's okay. The 964 is a better looking cabriolet.
That's true. I agree with that. That's why I own a 964 cab now as well. Look, this is definitely the better car, though, when it comes to driving. I think the 993 is everything about it is a better car. What's that?
It's missing the roof.
Well, but hold on. We're talking about convertibles to convertibles, apples to apples. Stay on task. Focus, Anthony. We're talking about convertible 964 versus convertible 993.
It looks wrong.
It looks wrong. It looks wrong.
I like this guy.
He loves this guy. What? Okay. What is it? What do you mean it looks wrong? What's that? Tell me about that.
Okay. So, plain and simple, every single piece of marketing you'll ever see from Porsche is the silhouette of a 911. Okay. Now take the back half off. What is it? It's nothing. It's just a line with a windshield and a big
What are you going to look
lump.
like when I find you a bunch of marketing materials that has convertibles on it? That doesn't make sense. There's tons of marketing materials with cabs.
If you walk into a Porsche dealer
Just put the
right
top
now,
up.
today, yeah, but it doesn't look right. Look at it. Look at it with the top. It's wrong.
It's wrong. Oh,
They
it's
make
so
a Boxer.
wrong.
A Boxer's a better performing car than that right there.
Well said.
And I don't care what generation you buy. Go buy like a 2003 Boxster S. It'll absolutely kill that car, and it looks right with the top down.
A Boxer would kill a coupe 993 too. So what the hell are you talking about?
Well,
that has nothing to do with the conversation.
If you want hair, if you want air in your hair,
Yeah.
Get a Targa.
They didn't make a Targa in the 993 in the
Yes,
traditional
yes, they
sense.
did.
No, they did not. They made a hardtop that has a big sunroof that they call the Targa, but that is not a Targa.
But they made a Targa.
It's a cabrio with a glass hardtop. Is what
That's
that
because
is.
they wanted the car to
Even
look right.
heavier than a cabrio.
The Taycan Turbo, and like that's a freaking Targa.
Nice.
Oh, the cabrio phobes. You're just on the wrong side of history there, Anthony. All right, what do we think this car is going to bring, Michael
I
Deeb?
think
Oh,
sorry.
wait, we forgot Buddha. We forgot Buddha because he doesn't have a camera. Go ahead, Buddha.
it's black on black. JP's right. This represents value. This is Franklin, Tennessee, so this is like the rich suburb of Nashville money. So I tend to think this is out of a collection versus a dealer. But
I think
What
it
is
had
the listing?
look at the license plate. It had a dealer name on it.
Well, Deeb, you can tell if it's a listing.
It's Monarch showroom, and I'm looking at they have a 1986 Porsche 911 M491 Coupe JP with 70,000 miles, and I'm looking at that car right now. It's really nice. I lost JP.
It's all right.
But yeah, they have nice cars. It's like a pot lot for high end luxury cars. It's cool. They've got some SUVs, some Audi R8s, and some cool air cooled Porsches. So
Nice.
Monarch showroom is definitely worth a peek.
Yeah.
At their stuff. So, John, you want to jump into the numbers now?
Yep. let's do
Buddha?
it.
Yep. All right, cool. So, our car is currently sitting at $31,000 on just 9 bids, and it closes tomorrow, essentially 16 hours from now. JP, I think you sort of hit the nail on the head when you said these cars are 60 grand, and I'm going to go with 60 grand. Thank you for giving me your bid.
All right. I will go just a little. I'll park it just above you and say 60,993. I think it's going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if it were in the mid 50s, all the way up to something like 70. But if I have to park a number, I'm going to say 60,993. And just the big question is whether or not the car will sell at that number, because I think that's a reasonable price. Looking at that collection in the background, I don't think these people are reasonable. Romi, what do you think?
Wait, so JP, $69,930.
No,
Got it.
you keep doing that.
Romi, go ahead.
Hold on,
I got your bid.
wait. I gotta fix things for Deeb here because he
got
can't.
your bid. I got your bid, JP.
60,
Just playing with it.
Awesome.
609.
I want to hear the Sharpie squeaking when you write. You know what I mean?
Oh my god.
Okay, here we go. Just so you guys, because I need to make it easy for when I correct things later when you screw it up. But here's what I'm saying: 60,993. Deeb is an ass.
That's 00993. Look at that.
All right,
Romi.
Romi, what's your number?
67,000.
67,000.
Ooh,
Do you think
he
it'll
likes
sell
it.
at that number, Deeb? Or Romi, sorry.
What did you ask me?
I said, do you think it'll sell at that, or do you think it'll go in the chum bucket?
No, I think it might sell for that. People really love those cars. They love them. I mean, there's a group of people who just love those little cars.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
and that
it-
does
I-
represent like half of what a coupe in this condition
Right,
would
and
be,
I agree
yeah.
with you. What you said is like there is a group of people who are going to go, oh, I really want a coupe, but I'll spend less money and get the cat.
All right, Anthony, here's your shot. Cabriophobe, what's he think this thing's going to bring?
I think it's going to bring 64,000.
It's going over me.
Yeah, and I think it goes right in the chum bucket because
Yeah.
I think this
Yeah.
guy thinks his car's worth 80% of a coupe.
Yeah, look at that. And at the end of the day, I can the pointy hat wearing guy and myself can get together. I mean, he does come from Idaho.
Hey.
I know they've got an area up there where there's an enclave of cabriophobes that
No,
have got
I'm
together.
originally from California. I just want
that
to
Hayden
clarify
Lake or
that.
something
You got
like
smart
that.
and
Yeah.
left.
Ruby Ridge.
Ruby Ridge, there it
yeah.
is. All right, love it. We can agree. We're definitely agreeing that this thing's going to the chum bucket, and whoever owns it probably thinks it's worth more than it actually is. Wonderful car.
It's
What do
always
you
the
guys
case.
think this thing will bring?
Buddha. What's Buddha's
Oh
bid?
gosh, dang it! We keep forgetting about Buddha because he doesn't have a camera.
55K.
55K. That's a good number.
That is a good number.
There's no way it sells for that, and
it
I
won't
would buy
sell.
it for 55K.
Yeah, it won't
that'd be a
sell.
steal.
It'll
and
go
this
to the
is-
chum bucket.
Yeah,
I
and this
think
is
we'd
peak
all
our
buy that.
market. If people are watching this show and then go to the close of that auction, if they're smart, they won't buy anything for Car Market. Okay. Let's move on to the next car. Is this another opportunity to ish on Car Market, Deeb, or do we have something on a different platform this time?
No, we're going to leave them alone for a couple of days.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. Okay.
JP, the very first Lotus Emira, first edition, with the V6 and a 6-speed manual, 2024, is on Bring a Trailer. This is the first one to grace the pages of Bring a Trailer. Our car is located in Fort Myers, Florida, and is showing just 71 miles, which is probably equal to delivery miles or whatever it took to get it home. What's interesting, JP, there's a guy that showed up at a couple of car events I went to over the weekend that's got a car essentially just like this. And he bought it out of stake. I think he got it in Ohio. And what he was saying to the small crowd of people that were clamored around his car to see it was that the cars that were earmarked for California did not meet California's ever stringent whatever it was. And so those cars were being held up in Great Britain. And so the reason why he got his car was because he had ordered it out of state. He also went on to say that the cars that Lotus is delivering first are the V6 Toyota platform cars. These are the supercharged 3.5-liter V6s. These cars make 400 horsepower and 317 pound-foot of torque. These are rear-wheel drive 6-speed manual cars. These are kind of the performance ones. Later cars will be offered with the AMG 4-cylinder turbo, the inline turbo that makes 300 plus horsepower, but those will only be offered with DCTs, dual clutch transmissions. So I think as a driver's car, JP, I love that Lotus made this and that they're selling it at let's just call it a reasonable price. These cars are essentially $100,000, maybe a little bit more. But what you're getting here is something that is, I think, pretty close to what the original NSXs were, which were, mid-engine, rear-wheel drive, 2-seat sports cars that were all about driving feel and engagement rather than out-and-out performance. So I like these cars. I think they're really pretty in person. They do lack the feel and the touch of the cars that we grew up on, JP, when we were kids, like that 993 we covered recently. But I think in today's market where so many things are turbocharged and all-wheel drive and heavy as hell and floppy paddle gearboxes, I love that there's somebody out there that's making an ICE engine, rear-wheel drive, 6-speed manual, mid-engine sports car, and you don't have to spend $250,000, $300,000 or get in line for 3 years to get one. So I offer to you, JP, I think you and Romi might have test driven a car like this some time ago. So you may have more experience with the car than I do. JP, what do you think of the Lotus Emira? Take it, yay or nay? What do you think?
Romi and I did get to test drive one of these at our friends over at Vegas Auto Gallery, and I think it's a spectacular car. It looks great on the road, but having 3 pedals and being able to flick the gears, this car is light. It does all the things that you want it to do, like no other car really does anymore. It's kind of a shame. You're absolutely right. Nobody makes anything like this. A lot of people were at that test drive event, coming there to kind of compare the car to like a Boxster Spider or something like that, or a 718 Spider, and I just don't think they're even remotely on the same category. They're just not. Like, you get into a Porsche and you definitely feel like there's more car when you're in the Porsche. There's just like more stuff. Everything feels more together. Everything feels more buttoned up. This car is definitely, you can feel that it's not as
minimalist.
Refined. It's there's not a lot. It's basically the chassis, the engine, a seat, and your butt. And that's what I like about it. I mean, the only thing is that I'd be like, how well will this car hold up? It does not really, it doesn't inspire confidence in its long term, whether or not the thing's going to be reliable or not.
JP, come on. Yeah, the thing could barely take one test drive with me. Barely.
What's that?
It barely could take one test drive with me.
Did you break it? I don't remember you breaking it.
Don't you remember it was smoking?
No, that was the Vierra. This is the brand new one. And the Evora
They
we
look
drove
exactly the
was
same.
No, they don't. They don't.
You know what that thing? You know what this
they
one looks like?
definitely
What is this thing called? Gamera? What is
It's a
it?
good evolution.
It looks like a McLaren and a Mazda had a baby.
That's
it's
fair.
a little
That's
slow.
fair.
Yeah, like a Miata and a McLaren got it on. I think
Totally.
that's pretty solid take right there.
Yeah, thank you.
Who do we think was on top?
Perfect.
It's I think it's just a stunning looking car. I think you look at the shape and it's so beautiful, but in real life it's kind of small.
Stupid.
Anthony, what do you think of these? Have you gotten a chance to drive one or see one in person yet?
Yeah, I have seen one. I have not driven one. I'm with Romi. No, I would pass on this. It's like you went to every better built car in this price range and you said, nah, I'd rather have something more risky and just really flimsy. And it's a Lotus. They haven't changed. The Evora was
Dude, totally. You know what it stands? You know what Lotus stands for?
Yeah,
right?
lots of trouble, usually
serious.
for a reason. So I'd pass. Thank you.
It's not the best looking car. It is an evolution of that's definitely a Lotus. I mean, there's no way I would choose this over if I'm like Cayman S or Cayman GTS shopping. There's no way I'm taking this over that. But
can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Could you take this car and turn it into a track car?
yeah, I mean,
It is a track.
that's all it is.
Yeah, that's what it's for.
Yeah.
Is that what it's for? Okay.
Yeah.
For a cheap track car, that would be great. But it's not that
But
cheap.
it's not cheap.
I know,
Yeah.
that's the problem.
I own a cheap track car, a
Yes, you do.
GR86, 30 grand. That's not a cheap track car.
The Toyota is a better car. And
Yeah.
it's going to be more.
What Toyota?
Like a
No,
Miata.
Didn't you say you had a GR?
Yeah, I've
Oh,
got a
gotcha.
GR86,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's no way is that a better car. That's got the flat 4 from a Subaru. That thing blows up all the time. Sorry, Buddha.
Yeah,
It does not blow up all
and
the
they,
time.
and they don't
Take
even
that back.
warranty them. And
Take that
everyone's
back.
ishing all over the
it's
Lotus,
not
and
true.
they're
Take that
blowing
back.
up at the track, and they're not warranting.
Fake news. Fake news.
Even with a blown up flat 4, you could sell it on Facebook Marketplace for way more than it's actually worth because
Yeah, $58.
yeah. Stupid. What it costs new. This Evora has the same, Toyota-ness, right?
Yes.
And I just
But hold on. This is a Toyota engine, whereas
is.
the
Right.
engine in the
Is a
CR
Subaru.
is a Subaru
Right.
engine.
Yeah, but I don't know. My question is, who outside of the UK grew up going, I want a Lotus? The passion has to be there, and to me, these cars give me no passion, no fizz, no interest. It's kind of like a biology teacher. You're like, yeah, okay, cool, you know your stuff, but it's just a car with a Toyota engine in it, in my opinion. And that's where, if you buy a Cayman or you buy a Cayman S, and you can look at it and you can go, yeah, it's got the pedigree. It's a Porsche, and it's built well, and it's got a flat 6, and this.
They have flat 4. Sorry.
Flat 4,
I said Cayman, not 718. We're on different cars.
So we're talking. Well, okay, but then all right, that's an interesting take because now we're not we're not talking apples to apples here. We're talking about a 6 or 7 year old car versus a brand new car because the Caymans all have the 4s.
Not anymore.
All the 718s have 4s.
Not all
The
718.
GTS has a
has
4-liter plus 6. This would be
There's
a good
brand new one.
Yep.
Yeah, and that car is what 140, one something.
Not even.
No.
Are
No,
they?
no,
Are they?
no,
Are
no,
you sure?
Yeah.
Sure?
Yeah.
For a
Yeah,
GTS with the 4-liter,
Yeah.
are people getting the? One, I don't even think you can get any. I mean, because one, they're not bringing any more in. They stopped making all the 718s.
Well,
That's a fair take, JP.
Yeah.
Getting one might be hard, but the guy that had the car at the show I saw over the weekend, he ordered his car like 23 months ago. So he waited 2 years for his Lotus, and you might be waiting for the next generation of the Cayman or whatever. So
quick hot tip for everyone out there: Porsche of Boise right now has a current generation GT4 in white.
Nice.
And they want 132 for it. So
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
GT4, not an RS, just a regular GT4.
Yeah, regular GT4. I mean,
Manual?
Fantastic car.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And at 132,000, that's what I'm saying. The passion for a Porsche is there. It's built in. You can look at the heritage. And I just don't think Lotus is the same Lotus of the vintage cars. After the Exige, when they came out with the Evora, I think they started making something they don't make. And that's
what Lotus always does?
Well, no, but I think Lotus always made a really lightweight sports car.
Yeah.
And when you look at these, they're trying to make a competitive car to a Cayman or something like that.
Yeah, well said.
And I don't think that's what Lotus makes. And when I look at that, I just see nice try.
Yeah, when you got into Evora, there was no illusion that you were in a nice car. This was a tool for going to the track. I think they are trying to make that a little nicer. I will say these are going to be hot for a minute because you can't get them right now.
Right.
So this is, I think Deeb said this is the first one on bat.
Yep.
So it'd be interesting to see if this will, because some of the other hot shit stuff, I mean, Cybertrucks, they're not bringing a premium anymore. So it's something like this.
Don't get JP started on the Cybertruck.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
What? Wait, what? Why are you jumping in my ish? I didn't say anything about Cybertruck. All right, what do we think this thing's going to bring?
Oh, my God.
Has anyone watched the last couple shows? I mean, you went all over the Cybertruck.
Love Cybertruck. Buy the dip.
To summarize Anthony's point, even James Bond doesn't drive a Lotus.
Not anymore.
He drives the worst
All
car.
right. So this Prius Emira.
over
prettier, though.
any Aston. That's for sure.
Yeah. So the Prius Emira, our car is currently sitting at $101,000.
Whoa.
On 18 bids. Our car had a sticker price of $97,650. So it's already $4,000 over sticker, but he's not whole yet if he paid, 10% for tax and tags. It seems that some of these cars have been trading in that $108,000 to $110,000 range. I've seen some comps in that range, but this is the first one on BAT, and I feel like on BAT somebody may overpay for it. So I'm going to go just a little bit over what the first one seemed to have transacted for, and I'm going to go $112,000 where it will sell. JP, I send it back to you. It's at 101, and it's closing tomorrow.
You show up in any Cayman or Boxster other than a GT4 or GT4 RS, and nobody cares. Like, it is just like, in fact, all your friends will make fun of you, and I hate to admit they're fantastic cars, but if you own one, everyone's going, you couldn't afford the 911. Got it. That's what they're saying, whether you want to believe it or admit to yourself or not. That's what's happening. This car, on the other hand, you roll up somewhere and everyone's going, oh, wow, that thing's at least kind of cool. Let's check it out. Anthony, I think you need to drive one, and it'll be interesting to see what happens if that changes your opinion or not. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but it certainly changed mine. I didn't like the Evora. The Evora, everything that was wrong with that car, I believe, was taken care of in this car, from style, from the way it drives, from the way everything about this car I love. I think it is a striking car in person. It has a inexpensive, exotic way about it. This car was supposed to be $70,000 though. So the fact that it's up here in the 100, that is where it starts to be a problem. If this were a $70,000 or $80,000 car, the Boxster would have a problem, because the Boxsters are all 4 cylinders, right? This is a 6-cylinder that's actually reliable. In long term, it's probably going to have start to have electronic problems, but I think powertrain wise, it's probably going to be fine. The number though is the big question. Deeb, what was your number?
112. I changed it from 120 down to 112.
Yeah, I think this car is the current hotness. Because they couldn't get past the port, I know that the local dealership had a dozen of them stacked up in a back room because they couldn't deliver them. But I think they are finally allowed to give them out to people. So at the moment, like the Cybertruck, for a nanosecond, it's going to bring a premium. I'll go to $115, but also like the Cybertruck, I think in a month or two, these are going to be under MSRP. This car is having its moment right this second. And this color looks really good. Yeah.
Which is what Buddha said. Yeah.
Also like the Cybertruck was supposed to be $70,000.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Romi, what do you think this car's going to bring?
Where is it at right now?
It's at 101.
108. That's where
108.
I'm.
Okay,
108.
we're all kind of. So we don't think it's gonna. You guys don't think it's gonna have a big late stage rally like a lot of cars do on BAT.
I don't think so.
Anthony, where are you at?
I think it's going to have a big rally.
Yeah.
I think this is the one that's available. I think someone is going to pay $120,000 for it, and I think all of his friends should tell him for $14,000 more you could have got a GT4.
Yeah.
Solid.
And
I'm going to go $120,001.
$121. There it is. Yeah, I think this car is like going to be a great. Like, I want one of these next year when they are $70,000. I think that's going to be the time to buy one of these. Then it's going to be a fantastic value. But right now, it's just way overpriced. Great car, but not really.
It'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Do we have another car? Or was that the last one, Michael Deeb?
That's the last one.
That was it. All right. What do you guys think this car will bring? Let us know in the comments below, and make sure you go over to the Bring a Trailer auction and mention Bid Nerds in the comments down there. Where's the Nerd Herd at on this car? It looks like they're with us on this one.
Yeah.
Anywhere from 105 on up to about 119 is about the highest.
115. Yeah.
Carbine's at 111.7. Brian's at 116. George is at 109. Michael S. at 110. I got Gerd is up there at 126. That put him as
he's
the high
usually
man.
pretty good at this.
Yeah,
So.
I think now we're all sweating in our boots.
Yeah.
But Anthony, it's Anthony
right.
and Gerd are like tied for
Everything.
Yahtzee championships, I think. And speaking of that, Anthony was awesome. He brought us some cool shirts. Check it out, guys.
Ooh,
we got
what do
here?
you got?
Our Smith shirts. Check it out,
Nice.
guys. Are jealous at home.
Get it in
Look
the
at
shot.
these. Holy
Get it in the
cow.
shot.
Hold on,
There
let
it
me
is.
get a full shot. So
you got to
guys
get
can
the
see it.
back. The back.
Anything
is
that
amazing.
covers your face up is great.
Yeah, that's true. Good call. Good solid. That's there. There's Our Smiths on the front. And check out this back. This is really cool. Check that out.
Nice.
Guys. All right.
Our
Look at
Smith.
Oh,
that.
snap.
Fancy.
Snap.
Anthony, can you
Paw
tell us a
shop.
little bit about it?
Yeah.
Anthony, did you bring any in men's sizes or just for JP?
No. I brought you a shirt, but you didn't show
Extra
up.
large.
Show up.
In fact, I even brought a clock for a certain wide body
Deep?
car.
Yes. Anthony, I can't wait
once
to make
again,
out with you.
Well,
That's awesome.
I'll fit the clock. Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about it later. But
Oh my God.
but no, I
The shirts
brought
are tight.
I brought shirts for everyone, so I want to make sure everyone gets shirts.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, you'll get a shirt.
Heck, all right.
Tell us,
You
tell
got
us
a
what
shirt.
you do. Tell us what you do.
Oh,
real quick.
so yeah, I'm a Swiss watchmaker. I specialize in vintage Rolex and modern Rolex. I do work on all Swiss watches. We buy, sell, and trade. Yeah.
Do you actually work on them?
Yeah, I tear them all the way down to bare plates and clean them, lubricate them, put them back together, time them. I owned.
Can you still see?
Yeah, not at a distance.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
I can't see at a distance.
I believe it.
But up close,
Anthony, you said something to me when we were on the phone that you're one of, I think, just like 11 master watch makers in the United States. Is that
no. There's many more.
Say it correctly.
Many more master watchmakers in the United States. What I'm considered in the top 10 vintage Rolex specialists. So I get watches
Impressive.
from all over the country, all over.
Yeah.
I actually have quite a few customers out of Europe too. Rolex doesn't service their vintage watches anymore. So
You're kidding.
No, anything from the late 70s all the way back, they don't have parts available, so they just don't service them.
Do you have to make the parts?
Sometimes.
That's cool.
Fabricate?
Yeah.
That's
So,
nice.
you know, you don't want me to make parts. Because
He's like, I'm buying a GT4. I'm going down to the Porsche store in Idaho. Doesn't have a GT4 anymore if he has to buy built parts for it.
you don't want
Yeah.
The thing is, if you own a fine timepiece, you need to be servicing it every 5 to 7 years. On a modern watch, you can get to 7 years. On a vintage watch, say you have a 60, like yesterday before I came up,
It's better than a Porsche.
Well, you would
7 years? I'm good with that.
Yeah, you know, it depends on depends on what watch you have, but
Right.
you know, for I finished a 1964 Rolex GMT yesterday, and that service is going to run you about $1,500, right?
It's not bad.
But when you consider this is a watch that runs from 15 to 20 grand. So if you're not taking care of it, that service skyrockets quick, because if I have to get a wheel's going to cost us, $50, $60, or if it's something that is unobtainium, I have to make it. And if I have to make it, it's by the hour.
So it is like a Porsche.
Yeah, it's 100% like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just
you have to maintain it.
Just take care of it. I'm never cease to be amazed by the amount of people that will purchase a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 watch and then come to you for service and go, well, $1,000 to service it. That's so expensive. And you're like, come on, man.
Really?
do you service your Ferrari at Jiffy Lube too?
Exactly.
I mean, but that's...
Wait, you don't service your... What's wrong with that?
Well, like
one service on a Ferrari is 30 or 40.
Yeah, seriously.
It's crazy.
So just stay on top of it. Reach out to me. You can reach out to me at Our Smiths, our website, and you're going to talk to me. You're going to talk to the watchmakers. So that's
awesome.
That's the thing. I take time to talk to you. You're not going to get to talk to a lot of watchmakers at this level. It's just not
I'm a
gonna happen.
recent watch purchaser. Yeah. JP got me the connection.
Look at that, Anthony. He's wearing our watch, by the way. He's got the anniversary red marking one.
Yeah, I'll bring it in.
Yeah,
I'll get it serviced. I have no problem.
Well, hold on. I want to be super clear here, because this is probably the most common question. People, like, I've had people go, "Oh, that's really cool. The watch service guy. I wish he wasn't in Idaho." I'm like, no, that doesn't matter.
Yeah,
no. That's the thing. He will send the box to you. Tell him how that works.
So, depending on, we in the industry we call them caskets. They're like plastic styrofoam cases. If your watch is of a certain value, we'll send out a casket to you. You put your watch in the casket, you send it back to me.
Nice.
Under a certain value, the service cost doesn't prohibit, prohibits us from doing that. Inefficient. But I will still send you a label. You'll just have to package it. Once it's in my possession, it's fully insured until it gets back to you.
Nice.
So, it just, no matter what, and I think there are a few Rolex dealers that are going to have a boutique watchmaker. I was a boutique watchmaker for a couple of years. So some Rolex dealers are going to do your service in-house, but the vast majority are going to put it in a box and send it to Dallas. Or they don't really send to New York very often, but sometimes they'll send them out to New York. So your watch is going to get shipped no matter what. It just depends who's doing the shipping. Then if you're looking for a Rolex, or you're looking for a vintage watch, or modern watch, we source all that. We do have watches in stock, and
really?
What's the website? Oursmiths.com, guys. If you're looking for a watch or you need service for your watch, oursmiths.com. We're going to get ready to get the heck out of here.
Yeah, go
but
check it out.
Before we do, we've got big plans for the weekend. Michael Deeb, what's going on this weekend? What are we doing?
All right, JP, we are all descending on Long Beach in anticipation of Lufta Colt's Air and Water Show on Saturday in Orange County, just a little further down the coast. So if you're a friend of the Nerd Herd and you're going to be in LA, please immediately reach out to either JP or myself so that we can include you in some of the festivities. We're all driving into to LA tomorrow to Long Beach. And then on Friday, we're going to take a drive. It's a private drive, but if you're going to be in town, reach out so that we can get you the details and try to include you in the festivities. Friday evening, back in Long Beach, we're going to be dining at, and JP, the name escapes me. It's literally barbecue something or other in Long Beach. The Bid Nerds, the Derfascination, and Vegas Auto Fest of 2024 are hosting a welcome party to the people that are going to be in LA for the weekend. If you're going to be in the area, please either reach out to Chef, to JP, or to myself directly so that we can give you the details and include you in the welcome dinner tomorrow evening in Long Beach. And of course, bright and early on Saturday morning, we're going to run down and do Luftgekocht Air and Water Show. If I can, I'll try to sneak everybody into the auction so we can peek into that, and then that'll be a fun weekend. Then Sunday morning, we're gonna drive about an hour north up towards Pasadena, and we're going to go to the 356 swap meet on our way out of town. So Sunday morning, bright and early, we will be at the swap meet, and we hope to see you all there. And there we'll hug and kiss and depart. JP is going to take the crew back to Vegas. I'm going to take a couple of I got Yuri and Sahand and maybe my friend Andy in tow, and we are going to drive back to the Bay Area, and we're all racing home so that we can basically get back on here and do this again. Yeah, and we'll do it. An out of breath bid nerds.
This is the way. This is going to be bid nerds this Sunday.
Yeah.
Hey, bid nerds show over. Awesome. That's it night tonight, guys. All right, here. The show, cars, whatever. We give a shit. Also, big shout out to our friend over there. Where's he at? I'm trying to hit the button. No, that way. It's Romi's birthday this weekend, guys. So there will probably be some festivities Saturday night.
I didn't want to say.
You gotta know us
the other day. Yeah, JP. I got spanked the other day for opening my mouth.
There will be something where everyone can come to. Cool. So it may not be dinner per se.
Is there a spearmint rhino in Orange County?
Probably closes at 10.
Yes,
exactly. You got to be 15 feet away and the lights are on.
Only legs. You can only see the legs.
Okay.
Will you be sitting in Hep C or Hep B?
There's one in Boise. There's a rhino in Boise. I'm going. Let's go.
I'll be outside smoking.
Yeah, it smells like French fries.
All right, guys, and then Friday morning the big drive too. So if you want to go on that, let us reach out to us. And,
no, my camera went out.
It's not a professor run, to be clear.
Yes,
but maybe the professor will be there.
Oh, that'd be great.
Officially, it's not a professor run. What's that?
Where are we driving?
It's a place.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll
see you at Newcomb's Ranch. Yeah, meet us at Newcomb's Ranch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Say hi to the Ryans and and if you don't know who the Ryans are, he's the guy blowing Magnus in the corner. That's it, guys. We'll see you this weekend. Good night.
Oh my God.
Get those words!